Acho que não dá para ligar os dois. Ligas quando falas. Porque eu não sei se um não interfere com o outro. Não é que eu tenha muita experiência. Good morning to you all. It's with great pleasure that I welcome you to this Regional ELIX conference, these 2 days of work. We start in a very positive way, the conference, because we start with a seminar, an open seminar on citizen science, and then in the afternoon and tomorrow we go through our program more focused on the research on innovation, entrepreneurship and regional development. So this topic of citizen science and resilient communities is a topic that it's growing in Europe, and it's a topic that in the University of Aveiro it's being developed by a number of researchers. And in this particular case, this seminar is supported by a project that is funded by ECIU University. So the project, it's named Resilient, and this seminar is organized together with the conference with the aim of pushing this topic forward, to make it researchers aware of the relevance of studying resilient communities and how can we foster resilient communities through citizen science initiatives. The formal opening of the conference will be in the afternoon. So I will introduce a little bit more about the objectives of the conference, but now I give the floor to my colleague Susana, that is going to be the moderator of our seminar on resilience communities.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. No worries. Are you okay? Yeah. So, good morning to all. Welcome to our shiny and brighty Aveiro. We have a wonderful day just for you today. We are really pleased to welcome you here to this open session on citizen science and territorial resilience, as Anna said, which is part of our first face-to-face meeting in our project. So it's very nice to have more faces here to add to our meeting. So nice to have you here. Well, as Anna said, my name is Susana Ambrósio. I'm a researcher in science communication in education at the University of Aveiro. And today I have the task of moderating this session in which we will discuss and share perspectives on how to promote and foster citizen science initiatives for a better future. To share these same perspectives, and because citizen science can have several formats, involve different actors and take place in multiple contexts, we have with us 4 speakers, whom I thank for their presence and interest in sharing with us their projects and experience regarding citizen science. I will start with Flávia Miguel. Flávia is a researcher fellow at the University of Aveiro. She holds a PhD in music, ethnomusicology, from the University of Aveiro, and since 2006 she has developed work on music, Cape Verde and migration, and she has conducted fieldwork in Portugal, Cape Verde, Italy, Brazil, Mozambique and South Africa. Her main domains of study include digital archives, music in Cape Verde and Portugal, applied ethnomusicology, wonderful this word, and shared research practice in music. She is an assistant editor of El Oído Pensante journal and has participated in several national and international research and development projects such as the Scopiofonia, Atlas and SOMA projects. Thank you, Anna, for being here. We will also have with us Maria Vicente, who today has a double role. Maria is the scientific coordinator of the Open Science... Sorry? No, this is not Maria. This is Maria. Maria, as I said, Maria is the scientific coordinator of the Open Science platform in the municipality of Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo. She has a PhD in neuroscience, was responsible for the science education program at the Centro Champalimau for the Unknown in Lisbon, and Mission Open Science and was the international manager of the project funded by Horizon 2020 program of the European Commission Open Science Hub Network at Leiden University. She is also part of the social organs of SciCompT, the Portuguese Science and Technology Communication Network. And today, Maria will also talk about the Portuguese Citizen Science Network, where she is a member of its installing committee. Welcome to Aveiro, Maria. We also have with us Manuel Santos, and now...
No, yeah.
This is Manuel. And also with us, Manuel. Manuel is a high school teacher, has been teaching computer science for more than 2 decades at Cafanha da Nazaré School, a city near to Aveiro. Manuel is also a doctoral student in multimedia for education at the University of Aveiro, and also a member of our research center on the educational field, my colleague. His main research interests are the Internet of Things, smart cities, participatory citizenship, citizen science, as well as pedagogical innovation in teacher training and in the integration of ICT in the educational process. Thank you, Manuel, for being here. As I mentioned at the beginning, this open session takes place in the context of the Resilient project. And to talk about Resilient, we have our project leader, Ana Daniel. Ana is a researcher. Let's put Ana. Manuel, you are on the top. She is a member of the research, so Anna is a researcher and a professor at the University of Aveiro. She holds a PhD in chemistry. She is a member of the research unit in governance, competitiveness and public policy. And as a researcher, her main interests are on entrepreneurship, innovation and regional development. Thank you, Anna, for being here and for leading us. So, in order to have, from the start, the framework from the Resilient project, Anna will be the first speaker with about 10 minutes, please. And then she will be followed by Ana Flávia, then Maria Stern, and finally, Manuel. Now you are the last one, okay? So, to better organize our session, I would kindly ask you, our beautiful audience, to put the questions only in the end, okay, of their presentations. And after our conversation, if you want to put some questions to our speakers, we'll have some guidance questions, just to have a dialogue from the speakers with the audience, just a friend talk, okay? So enjoy, and thank you very much for being here. So,
okay.
The floor is yours.
Okay, so thank you so much. It's nice to have this presentation because in the beginning I forgot to mention my name. So thank you so much. Now you know my name, and I clearly forgot that. I have the responsibility of just presenting some lines regarding this project that supports this seminar. As I mentioned, this project was funded by ECIU, and the name of the project is, I don't know, if I speak loud enough, can I raise? Can we try?
Great.
Because for me... Yeah, but maybe I can go over here, because...
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you hear me loud enough? I have that position as a professor. I always speak loud. I never speak... Even at home, I speak to my husband and my daughter loud. They hear me well. So if I speak too loud, I can also try to make it a little bit less. Okay, so this project name is the Research Network on Resilient Communities. Where do I point? Okay, so we live today in a very challenging times. During the last years, we have faced several crises. We clearly remember the pandemic and all of the impacts that caused in our daily lives. We also faced during the years, during the last decades, a lot of environmental challenges. And this was a picture of a storm that occurred in Madeira, and several people died during this storm. But there are plenty of examples, even this year. And also, all of us know well this topic about war in Ukraine. So all of this has impacted the way that we see life, that we live, that we collaborate with others, that we communicate with others. And this leaves us as persons also to be responsible for trying to make our lives easier and to face the challenges that we face nowadays. And for example, I bring here some examples during the pandemic crisis of initiatives that volunteers have created, have implemented in order to solve those problems. For instance, the first one, I don't think this works, but the first one, it's a network, a social media network developed here in Aveiro that connected people that lived in Aveiro and that could in some way help each other during the pandemic. The other two examples, Tech for COVID-19 and Help with COVID, were also platforms, online platforms created by volunteers. In the first case, it's a Tech for COVID, it's a Portuguese initiative that gathered more than 800 persons, technicians, engineers, designers, that created technological solutions to try to face all of the challenges of COVID. The other one was also a volunteer platform. This one was international. They had a lot of Portuguese people involved, but the impact of this initiative was even broader. So we face challenging times, but this also brings valuable lessons that we can, as a community, be able to find solutions for our own problems. And that was the motto of this term, resilient community. Resilience of a community is more or less has a resilience of a person. Okay, we are, as a person, more resilient or not in face of crises. If we are able to face them and be able to overcome them in a positive way, then we are resilient. A resilient community is more or less the same. There are plenty of definitions in the literature, but we in the project decided for this one. So a resilient community is a capacity of a group of persons or communities to respond to social, political, and/or environmental stresses and restore themselves to a similar level or even a greater level of functionality. So this is a resilient community. And what is nice about this is that a resilient community is more than the sum of the resilience of each one of the persons that compose that community. And the question is, how can the different elements that impact on a community promote these characteristics or increase these characteristics of a community? And that was the motto of our project, the Resilient Project. We have the ambition to build resilient communities through the promotion of a network, an open network. We are a number of partners, but we are open to other partners that can join our network. So we want to build resilient communities that are better equipped to face pressing social, economic, and environmental challenges, and we will do that by empowering citizens, okay? And the promotion of their inclusive, equitable participation in co-creation processes, such as citizen science initiative. So citizen science can be a process, can be a method, can be a tool to build these resilient communities. So the goals of our project is to develop this network that, as I mentioned, is open to all of you that want to join us, to forge new research projects. Okay, so we are trying to push research in this field even more. So we are pushing new applications for European projects, and also to encourage the dialogue between scientists, the traditional scientists, the professional scientists, and also the citizens that are involved in citizen science. So the citizen science for us is a tool, is a mean, is a vehicle to build this resilient community. And the definition that we use for citizen science is is the participation of the general public in research, okay, along with the traditional or the professional scientists. So the citizen scientist can be anyone, from an elder person to a kid, can be a person in a minority, can be a person that is from a different race, so can be anyone that uses scientific approaches to gather data, to find solutions, to study particular problems. This is, for us, citizen science. And we are, at the moment, a partnership of 6 European universities that belong to ECIU. Us here, the University of Aveiro, but also Twente, Dublin City, Kaunas, Tampere, and Likopin. Together we have some colleagues that come from Kaunas, Eagle, and Valeska that come from DCIU. And if you want to join our network, you can start by talking to us during the coffee break, but also you can look information about the project in our website, but also in our social media and through email. We are very keen to have other persons to think along with us the problems of how to bring resilience to local communities. So thank you so much. I hope you haven't...
Thank you very much for your presentation. Now we have Flávia with us that will present just a few seconds to make technical problems. Just okay, the floor is yours.
Okay, I will close with the microphones.
Yeah, great. Because...
So, good morning. Thank you so much, Anna Danielle, for the invitation. Thank you all of you for being here today in a not very nice day. And I'm going to start right now because my paper is a bit longer than 10 minutes, so please don't tell Anna Danielle about it. Okay, so SOMA, Sounds and Memories of Aveiro is the name of a project that aims to construct a physical and digital space for memory dedicated to the music and sounds of 11 municipalities of the Portuguese region of Aveiro, while simultaneously promoting objectives for social innovation and transformation and objectives of academic innovation and production. This living laboratory is collectively constructed and shared with the community alongside academic researchers with the aim of ensuring that research and development includes and benefits the local community. In 2018, SOMA was founded with 250,000 euros for 3 years. The funds include the hiring of a full-time professional researcher and 2 non-professional researchers from the community. Furthermore, the project is coordinated by me and Susana and involves researchers from the areas of ethnomusicology, sound archives, design, IT, music performance, and sound technology. The project started with the establishment of the team, which means the hiring of the researcher and of the 2 members of the local community. After promoting the project in newspapers and local institutions, such as the Senior University, we advertised for local researchers and interviewed the applicants. Vitor Marques and Artur Calado are the people that won the SOMA's fellowships. During the first weeks, we followed the previous project's copyophonia strategy of having several meetings per week to get to know each other, to share expectations, to read the project application, to present the previous project, to read and discuss texts on ethnomusicology and shared research practices, to reflect on the principal goals of the project, on digital archives, amongst others. We also provided introductory training on audio and video recording for fieldwork. But soon, the first unexpected challenge arrived. A colleague was trying to produce an exhibition and organize a conference about radio and radios, and the idea of joining our hands to create a bigger event sounded perfect for us. The exhibition had been created from the concept of archive as a process of reconstruction of the world and also as a space of domiciliation of memories. The idea was to offer a journey to explore different types of archives, those that were built up on the Portuguese language and broadcasted all over the world, those that help us to remember important moments of our collective history through sounds and voices, those that through words give us the chance to be informed, those that allow us to listen to music, and those that allow us to understand the technological development of the radio, the object itself. This multiplicity of points of views required the establishment of agreements with the Portuguese radio and television, with local radio museums, municipalities, private collectors, and required invite experts to curate each section. We also involved a master student in design who transformed the exhibition in her master's dissertation. Therefore, the project Radio Convida led to an unique exhibition in which everything was designed. We are referring to the visual identity, the furniture, and the special design of the exhibition. And we also established an agreement with the Science Center of Aveiro to host and co-fund the exhibition for 18 months, started July 1st, 2019, when a conference with the same name took place. The development of a project like this one in our own region had to include a section dedicated to the geographical region of Aveiro. During the second half of the first year of the project, from January to July to 2019, the most restricted team of SOMA was dedicated to do fieldwork and to interview people related with local radios, and in particular, to do fieldwork, and in particular, what is historically called pirate radios in Portugal. This work led to the edition of a documentary that was included in the section of the exhibition dedicated to the Aveiro region. Sorry, the sound is not okay. For the inaugural conference, Artur and Vitor chaired the plenary panel. After the first public screening of the documentary, they moderated a dialogue with all the people that participated. The result of this experience can be analyzed from different points of view. As Artur and Vitor always remember, and Artur and Vitor is the name of the... Yeah. So, as Arthur and Vitor always remember, that was a wonderful experience, perhaps the best one they had during the project. Mainly, they argued that the experience fed their everyday life based in the following: the intensity of the work with different people with different backgrounds, the love for doing fieldwork that they discovered during this period, the experience of analyzing interviews, writing a script, collectively discussed in addition with the video editor, and, in the end, of having the opportunity to see all of this come to reality. From the management point of view, the establishment of several agreements with the national radio, municipalities and private collectors required several meetings with those institutions, but also with the legal services of our university, and showed us that the internal walls of the public institutions and how these walls require time that we would prefer spending doing what we know and love to do, research and fieldwork. However, from the research point of view, this experience gave us some anxiety. In the first place, the geographical scope of the project was extremely large, comprising 11 municipalities with whom we intended to construct a digital archive of sounds and memories. Secondly, the meeting that we organized with the 11 municipalities during the first months to share the project created high expectations among the mayors and the cultural representatives of the municipalities. Finally, and most importantly, the expectation of the members of the community that we could not answer properly. Namely, the fact that we started having positive feedback from several people, giving us information, expecting to be interviewed, sending tips for things that we should see, record or research. It was impossible to attend to all these demands. The geographical amplitude of the project, as well the enthusiasm of some municipalities, led us to enter into dialogue with them. We can highlight the case of the municipality of Agde that was very interested in cooperating and funding SOMA in order to find a selection for some private collections organized by local collectors that were donated to the municipality. Yesterday, some of you had the... With SOLAB, our lab to digitize obsolete formats, running in the hands of Isaac Raimundo, that worked collaboratively with the collector Francisco Silva, the other members of the team were free to continue the fieldwork in an attempt to try to cover as much as possible the sounds and memories of the region. That's what we start doing 2 weeks after the launch of this exhibition, till mid-March 2020, when the pandemic arrived in Portugal and we had the first lockdown. As many of you might know, during weeks we lived scared with an unknown reality. But when the new normal started, the younger members of the team were not comfortable putting the less young ones in a possible position of danger. And that's why we stopped doing fieldwork and why we stopped feeding our motivation. We tried and did several Zoom sessions, but the lack of physical fieldwork wasn't easy to get over. After the summer of 2020, in an attempt to create a new dynamic in the project, we reactivated the dialogue with the municipalities. The municipality of Aveiro, in particular, was very interested in establishing an agreement with our project that was in line with the application to the European Capital of Culture 2027. In an attempt to expedite the process, we decided that their collaboration could be done directly with the human resources that we needed, that people could be paid directly by the municipality and work with us. And that's what happened. They hired a sound technician for 1 year, which main goal was to record sounds and soundscapes of the region for the digital archive. The inclusion of Antoine Courinier in the team allowed us to create a series of what we call sound fragments, sound achievements, and a podcast. I'm going to put a bit of the last episode that is not published yet. And during this episode, talked about the challenge and the limits of the project. And I also would like to highlight the introduction, the musical part, that is an addition of different sounds and soundscapes of the region that during the interviews several people referred as important for them.
E sejam bem-vindos ao Pod SOMA. Eu sou Ana Flávia, Miguel.
This is my voice. To conclude, the month of July 2022, the last month of the project, had been dedicated to make a balance of the main challenges and limits of shared research practices and this way of doing ethnomusicology. We had some meetings to discuss what each of us feels that worked and didn't work in the last 4 years. We also decided to record an episode about it for our podcasts. Time, amplitude, and resources are the key words that define our conclusions. Let's start with the first one, time, and its dimensions that configure challenges and limits for us. The time demanded by the European institutions that fund this kind of projects isn't compatible with the methodology and endangers the democracy inherent in the methodology itself. No. The collective decisions-making process shouldn't be conditioned by time, by the obligation of sending a report, publishing a result, or finishing a thesis, for example. This is in a certain way also related with the dichotomy between academic and non-academic results or products. If, on the one hand, for the academics, especially for those that didn't get a position, the academic production is important, on the other hand, for the non-academics, a product that is accessible to the community is much more interesting and makes more sense. Finally, the time related with the full commitment of to the projects. Full dedication of the researchers is the key to achieve the goals of the methodology, and this dedication is not always possible. That happened during SOMA, and we can now address this aspect as something that didn't go as we wished. The human and geographical amplitude of SOMA can also be configured as a challenge and a limitation. The challenge of constructing an archive for a geographical region is very stimulating for both the team, the community, and the institutions. But the human dimension of this challenge and the management of the expectations are not easy to deal with. The huge amplitude of SOMA gave us a permanent feeling of not meeting expectations. Finally, the human and physical resources that we needed to answer to European requirements in terms of openness. Since 2018, the open science is a requirement for all projects funded by EU. Throughout this paper, the word archive has been spelled several times. Our efforts to have an open archive hosted by the library of our university started in the day that SOMA started. During this process, we realized that we need more physical resources to prepare the files to be incorporated into the data repository, and that this kind of public repositories are not prepared to host hundreds of terabytes that a project like ours holds. Unfortunately, the data repository has been launched only 2 weeks before the end of the project. This means that in order to have a temporary public archive, we had to hire an external enterprise to create the website and host some of the files of our archive. SOMA Sounds and Memories depends on the memories of those who know Aveiro and its sounds. The present and the past and present. In order to construct collective knowledge, SOMA team brought together their individual experiences. For the non-professional researchers, SOMA presented an opportunity to share their know-how and learn new skills, those contributing to active aging. Thank you. And so sorry for the long presentation.
Thank you so much, Anna. And now we'll have Maria with us to talk about two different projects, the different sectors, they are connected, and Maria will share with us. So please.
Hello, good morning everyone. Can you all hear me? Yes? Good morning. So thank you very much for the invitation, for the opportunity of being here. So as Susana was mentioning, I'm here to tell you about, do you have the pointer? It's over there. I'm going to tell you about an initiative which is actually a national initiative of which I'm just a representative. There could be other people here talking about this. And then I'm going to tell you about the project where I'm working on in a super rural area of Portugal. But first let me just tell you very briefly a bit about my road and how actually I ended up here. So I'm Maria. I'm actually coming from the research world. I've been in academia for more than 10 years in Lisbon, and then at a certain point I decided that I wanted to explore what could be the role of science, the social role of science somehow. And actually at the time there was this project starting actually that was started by let's call it my previous boss, Pedro Russo, which is from a part of the Portugal, a low density part about which I'm going to talk about today, which was called Open Science Hub, which is about how can we bring science, technology, innovation to places that normally don't have access to it, but how can we also think about these areas of knowledge as tools that can actually connect with local communities, and how can we make them contribute to sustainable development based on community challenges. So when I was in Lisbon at the time, and I saw that this project was actually starting in, let's put it like that, in the middle of nowhere in Portugal, and I thought, well, why not? This sounds super interesting. And this was in 2019, and well, we're here still today working on this. And actually, throughout this path, we have been awarded by the European Commission in 2019. So the other project started in 2017, and we established this European network of 8 European countries where all of them were establishing these kind of hubs in their own countries. So it has been a quite interesting process, and everything that I'm going to tell you about today is going to be about, I think the word resilience is something that resonates with us a lot, and how actually citizen science is so important for us, because it's actually this tool that connects citizens, their territory, and also science and research. So, okay. So this is actually the place from where I'm coming from. It's in if you look at the Portuguese map here, I don't know if this is working, it's fine. If you just look at the Portuguese map over there, I'm coming from the border. Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo, that's the name of this county. It's if you have the Douro River that comes from Spain, and then it flows into Portugal. We are right over there, and now today we are here in the western part of the country. And so I've been in between these two places, Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo and Leiden University, for the past 3 years, to develop this Open Science Hub platform embedded in this Open Science Hub network project as well. And I'm going to talk about today also about network, because it's super important. Even today, when we're just starting to meet, we're already thinking how we could actually start some talks to bring people together. And I'm also part of this science communication technology network in Portugal. And this is the thing that I'm also going to tell you about today, which is this informal network for citizen science that has started in Portugal some years ago, which aims to bring people together and share good practices, and also develop this community of practices. So just to give you a bit of my perspective of this ecosystem from where I'm coming from. So Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, located in this rural area of Portugal, and let me just give you some other data, because this is really in a part of Portugal that it's very different from an urban area. I can give you the notion that the density, the people density there is of around 13 inhabitants per square kilometer. In the district of Guarda, from where this county is located, it's around 30. In Lisbon, it's around 6,000. But at the same time, you have a lot of different opportunities of you deal with the mayor as well as you deal with the student. So there's a great potential actually of bringing people together and discussing some things and defining common objectives. So Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, so as I was telling you, the main objective, the mission is actually, as I was telling you, to bring together science, technology, and innovation and the daily life of local communities as tools for sustainable development. So we are here thinking about science and technology and innovation as tools, as something that we can use, that after identifying together with the local communities what is relevant, how can we bring partners, how can we bring all these different areas of knowledge to actually create something that is going to contribute to a common good. Our role of Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, in English Open Science Hub Portugal, is actually we are these facilitators or these agents or these mediators on the ground that are trying to connect society and understand what are the needs, what are the challenges happening. We are at the same time part of a municipality. The Open Science Hub is part of the municipality of Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo, and municipalities are very interesting and have a very interesting role in this intersection between citizens. They are super close to their communities and know and understand what are their daily life. At the same time, they can and have the legitimacy to be very much connected with the researchers, with the enterprise world, and so on and so forth, and of course to contribute to their territory. So, and we are in the middle of this triangle, let's put it like that, we're trying to bring together these different agents. So, now I'm going just to give you for 1 minute. So this citizen science comes from this bigger umbrella of the European Commission, and not only of open science. And open science we can define it like very openly as like this. Open science is scholarly research that is collaborative, transparent, and reproducible, and whose outputs are publicly available. And it is this big umbrella for open data, open access, which goes from all these altimetrics to open participation, to open source, to open resources, and also citizen science. I don't know how many of you are aware of the concept of citizen science. I guess some of you are, and I'm just going to tell you a bit about citizen science in general. So citizen science, and I really like Vicente, is that which says, while open science opens the door of academia to the world, citizen science invites the world in, so to experience science. The interaction between citizens and scientists reduces the gap between the two. In this way, experts and non-experts solve problems of common interest together according to the rigor of scientific method. And I really like this last part that it says like, so we are actually joining ourselves to work on something that we feel is of common good, but at the same time we are not leaving behind the rigor of the scientific method, and we actually want to create knowledge. So what is citizen science? So in a very broad way, citizen science, we can define it, or because citizen science is a very flexible and broad term, as involves the public and scientific research that generates new knowledge or understanding, and thus has the potential to bring together science, policymakers, and society as a whole in an impactful way. So some years ago, there is this European association, which is the European Citizen Science Association, and there is one of their working groups that some years ago tried to do this assessment of opinions of citizen science practitioners in Europe, and together their opinions about what is actually citizen science and what are their characteristics. And some of the things that were mentioned is that, while citizen science works across all areas of research and knowledge production, is applicable across all scientific disciplines, involves participants in one or more steps of the scientific research process, follows protocols and principles of the discipline in which it is actually inserted or framed, and can vary in terms of the roles, the responsibilities, and the leadership's opportunities for citizens, scientists, and other stakeholders. So it's a quite flexible concept, but in the end, what we're doing is that we are bringing together these different agents of our society to work on something that is important for all of them, and we are trying to create knowledge that can have a societal impact. So, some of you might know this, so as within this flexible umbrella, some years ago, already in 2015, there were these 10 principles of citizen science that have been developed or designed by several people together and have been published by the European Citizen Science Association. And 3 of them, which are very much related with what I've been saying in the last minutes, is that citizen science projects actually involve citizens in scientific endeavor that generates new knowledge, is that citizen science projects have a genuine science outcome, so the science and the objective of science and of research is very much present here, but also involving citizens, and both professional scientists and citizen scientists benefit from taking part. So this really needs to be a common road, a common path, where everyone is gaining from it at the same time. Okay, so here what I'm going to tell you about a bit today is I'm going to tell you a bit what's happening in Portugal. We, the Open Science, the Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, we have also been part of this European project that happened between 2019 and by the end of 2020-21, which was the EU Citizen Science Project. And this EU Citizen Science Project brought together a lot of different partners and people from across Europe. And they developed this platform, which is the EU Citizen Science, which aims to be a common point of sharing knowledge, sharing training, sharing projects. So here, if you go there, you can find it's something that is growing with time, right? Because it's a living process. So it aims at being a place that connects projects, resources. It also has a lot of like these massive open online courses, these MOOCs. And brought together a lot of different people from Europe and from different areas of society, and at the same time also tries to be an entry point for the different national realities. So I invite you to visit this website, also to register if you want, to also submit your projects and resources if you want to. On the Portuguese side, I'm part of the informal Portuguese Citizen Science Network. This was a group that actually I'm not part of, so as I said in the beginning, I'm here telling you about this today, but it could be one of the other people with whom we meet like regularly. So I'm just here on behalf of a group of people. So, and actually these groups started even before I started, and it started in 2017. By the Ministry of Science, Technology and Higher Education. By the time there was the Secretary of State in Portugal, she was she was an ambassador for open science and citizen science. And in 2017, the ministry, together with several researchers and people working in citizen science in Portugal, they did this first national meeting of citizen science. And since 2017, these meetings have been happening. So we had one in 2017, then another one in 2019. Actually, we met at these meetings before, Manuel. And in 2021, we also happen as well. And then next year, there's going to be another one. So the main aim of this Portuguese Citizen Science Network is to bring people together, and at the same time to share practices, and also to develop a community where people can meet, can talk, and discuss. So it's something very open. Now at the moment, and I want to tell you also a bit about the challenges, now at the moment, I said several times the word informal, because we feel that it's a group with a lot of energy from Portugal. Every time that we have a meeting, we have almost between 30 and 50 people show up, so which is great. But if we think in terms of sustainability and how to maintain a network like this, now we are trying to make the transition to a more formal network where we actually have an association with elections. We are going to have not only citizens as affiliates, but also institutions, so that citizen science can also, so that institutions can also say, I'm part of this network, and it's also part of their mission as well. So we are in this process of, we've been organizing these events. We actually are in the process of creating a website for the Portuguese reality, let's put it like that, which the way that we are designing it is in collaboration with actually the people that have developed the EU Citizen Science Project, so that the Portuguese platform can also be connected to the European reality, and we can have all these different things connected. And of course, and there are more things on the process, but if you want to actually know more about this network, I would like to invite you actually just to send an email, and you can join our meetings and join our discussions and know about the process that is happening, which is very informal. So, but before jumping to what's happening at Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, I just would like to give you a notion of some projects and some things that are happening in Portugal, which I feel is a field that is not only growing a lot in the world, but also in Portugal as well, and we have seen that a lot over the last years. Or, I don't know if it's, actually this is a question, which is, I don't know if it's the field has been growing, or if we know more the people now because we are more connected. But anyway, I'll just like to give you some examples. So, and now I'm going to just to give you like 9 different examples, and then I want to bring some questions for us to discuss, okay? Maybe some of these you know already. So this is a project which is called about, it's mosquito web, actually happens also in other countries, which is about monitoring invasive mosquitoes. And then I'll tell you a bit more about this project. I just want to give you first the portfolio. This one is about invasive species. It's also a project that happens worldwide, and it has its own spot and hub in Portugal, which is called invasores.pt, and it's about also monitoring invasive species of plants. And another one about monitoring, which is about, but this one is about invasive fish. And the ones that exist mainly in freshwater, in rivers. And another one, these all on the biodiversity side. This is for instance, is about monitoring insects. It's about, actually I don't know what's the name in the scientific name, sorry, forgot. Well, in Portuguese it's vaca loura. Then this one is about monitoring jellyfish. This one, not on the biodiversity side, but with implication also in biodiversity, it's about monitoring plastic in the beach, at the beach. And this one, the Biodiversity for All, which I'm sure maybe you know, the international platform, which is iNaturalist. I wouldn't say it's a citizen science project, but it's more like a citizen science platform where actually citizens can contribute to it with data, biodiversity data that others can actually use. And these last 2 ones that I'm going to focus a bit more are a bit different from the others, and one of the characteristics that I'm going to discuss a bit is that maybe the other ones have started actually inside a research institute, and these ones have not started inside the research institute. These last 2 ones that I'll tell you about in a bit, actually they have started from people, from citizens or from civil association. And this first one is about it's about the meadowgrass ecosystem, so how can you protect the oceans? But the group of people that has been working on it has been training fisherwomen in this case, actually to support them in collecting data and protecting the ecosystem. Susana, please tell me the time if I'm okay. And then there is another one which is also about these new decision makers of science. Which they work in a small neighborhood in Lisbon, and they are trying to understand some important questions for their communities, and then they are bringing in scientists to try to answer and help them tackling some of these questions. So one of the questions that I want to discuss here by bringing all these different examples is that it is very important. Sometimes we talk about citizen science projects, we talk more about the actions that are being made. But I think we need to understand, so what is the objective of each of these projects, and why is it important to involve citizens? So why a citizen science project is actually a citizen science project, and it's not just a project that is actually made inside the lab, and this is something that is very important to understand. And from the examples that I gave you, so for instance, from the mosquito to the invasive species, both from plants and fish, to the insects, or to the jellyfish or the others, well, it's because these research questions are actually going to get much more data in this case if we have the citizens contributing to all this data, because these are part of our daily life. So this is a big important variable in citizen science. But we can also think, for instance, for these last 2 ones, that it's not about actually having citizens answering your research question, but in this last case, it's more about we want to understand together with the citizens what are their questions, and then we are bringing science in, so that science is part of tackling these challenges. And it's important to understand these kind of distinctions between what we call citizen science, because as I told you before, it's quite big and flexible. Or another thing that I've already mentioned, which is also important and brings different challenges. All these projects on top, they actually started inside academia and research institutes. So they have researchers already working on it, of course, with their own challenges. And here we can think about challenges that exist on citizen science inside academia, such as there's no funding for it, there are no institutional incentive for it. Sometimes it's harder to get volunteers from society. And on the other hand, if we have citizen science projects that have started in the community, and that's what I'm going to tell you about a bit after with our own project, is that then we understand what the communities are feeling and needing, but then we are far away from the researchers, so that's another in the different challenge. So it's important to be aware of where the projects are coming from, so who are actually the main leaders, let's put it like that, or the coordinators, so that we understand what are the challenges also underlying it. And the obstacles that I've already mentioned. Okay, so now I want to tell you a bit, connecting with these last projects that started in the community. I'm just going to give you two small examples from Plataforma de Ciência Aberta, and I'm going to focus, I think, a bit on obstacles and challenges, because that's, again, if you think about them in a positive way, that's what's going to drive the change for them. Okay, these I already told you. Our mission is this one, and we are working in this triangular ecosystem, let's put it like that, as these facilitators. And one thing that is very important for the projects that are to develop is that they need to be based on local to global challenges. We try them to be relevant for the people that are in our communities, but at the same time that they can relate to other communities across the globe. And how can we use research and innovation to tackle these same problems? So one of the projects that we are actually developing is about water. And why is water relevant? So our county is that blue one, and we are actually surrounded by three different rivers. So water is actually quite important in Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo. And over there it's for the photo that I showed you. At the same time, we have a challenge, which is also an interesting opportunity, which is there is a big traffic of river cruises from Porto, which is on this extreme, to Barca d'Alboft, which is from where I'm coming from. And this is a huge economic, that has a huge economic turnover, of course, and which is very important, but at the same time it creates a big impact, which is actually at the moment is still unknown in terms of the health of these freshwater systems. So, and actually throughout the last years there have been a lot of testimonials about discharges or similar situations across the entire Douro from Porto to Barca d'Alboft. So, just to give you a notion, in this small village, which has just some hundreds of inhabitants, in 2019 we had more than 100,000 people coming in through the boats. So of course this leads to a lot of problems, both in terms of management of urban waste, but also discharge of oil and wastewater, and actually we have seen that happening on the river. So so as I told you before, we are part of a municipality. At the same time, municipalities are also a bit stuck, let's put it like this, with these big companies. So they don't want to enter into conflict. So the opportunity that we got to start putting this theme in the agenda was actually through citizen science. At the moment, in 2019, we were lucky to find this project, which is called Drinkable Rivers, which started in the Netherlands, where at the moment they were looking at for water lab hubs, and they were training people across the globe, and we enrolled, and our team was actually trained, and we started monitoring the river periodically, together with schools, also citizens. This is just our plan of research, let's put it like that, doesn't matter now. So, and every month we were bringing kids together with us to do this monitoring of the river. And after more than 1 year of doing this, we had acquired our data, and we had something that we could actually now try to understand if this is what was the problem that was happening there. So these at the time, and now I'm going back to the challenge part. We are not researchers on this topic, right? As Susana said in the beginning, I'm actually coming from neuroscience. At the same time, we are coming from the community part, where we had a problem that we identified together with our community, and we wanted to use research to use it. So what we did was that we compiled all the data that we got together with our students, and we sent it to university as if a report. And this allowed us to understand, first, that the research that we were doing needed to be improved. And this is one of the obstacles in our case of starting a citizen science project by not being the researchers, right? We are citizens without this kind of knowledge, but we need to get closer to the research that are doing it. But at the same time, it allowed us to do a research pilot with some researchers from Universidade da Beira Interior and Universidade de Trás-os-Montes e Alto Douro, which was great because it showed that the researchers were having interest in this question, and actually there is a lot of space for doing research on this. But also, after this pilot, then from the university side, there was, as I was telling you before, then the lack of incentives to continue, such as funding, human resources, and institutional incentives, was also small. So we are now in a moment where we have the question, we have the interest from the community, and this is already in the agenda. We have already reached out to universities where the interest is also shown, but the infrastructure and the incentives for it to happen is actually blocking this process. So now at the moment we're actually trying to negotiate with the boats if they actually would like to fund a research and a citizen science project so that we could also put them in this equation and try to make this ecosystem a bit stronger. Now, may I have 1 minute more just to talk a bit about another project that we have also, where somehow we try to integrate citizen science or participatory science within already a research project. So this is a project called Biodagro, which is done with several, on one hand, research institutes from Portugal, Instituto Superior de Agronomia in Lisbon, Universidade da Beira Interior na Covilhã, and then we also have some companies, and then and we are, and ourselves. And this is a project about agriculture and innovation. And why? So we are Figueira de Castelo Rodrigo, which is over there. We are in between this UNESCO park of the Douro wine region, but also at the same time we are part of a natural park, the International Park of International Douro. So, and agriculture, as we all know, well, we are in this mountain region in a remote location, which has a lot of challenges, well, high cost in terms of production system, the logistical constraints, so on and so forth. But at the same time, and as I told you, we are part of a natural park, we also know that agriculture is one of the main factors responsible for reducing environmental sustainability. So there is this conflict here, which is, on one hand, agriculture is super important in this territory, and actually, this natural park, more than 30% of it actually has farming and has agriculture happening. But at the same time, we also know that agriculture, the way that is done in a mainly actually contributes to the loss of biodiversity. So this project tries to increase, what it aims to do is actually to support farmers to change or to inform their decisions in order to how to use water in a more efficient way, how to decrease the amount of pesticides, etc., and so on and so forth, in order to increase agrobiodiversity practices. And the way that we are doing it, we are developing this platform where we are putting sensors, well, the sensor is already there, we are in the piloting phase, we have put already sensors on the ground, we are from, imagine, from humidity, the moist, where we also have weather stations, and also we have cameras that we can follow a lot of different variables. This information is actually being sent to nanosatellites because this is an area with remote connection. So this information is going to be sent to nanosatellites and then to a cloud that then is going to be taken care of by an intelligent, artificial intelligence algorithm, and then it will generate alerts and information to farmers. So why are we in this project? I think that's the question. So the reason why we're actually working on this project, which is much more technological and research driven, is because in order for this platform to be used by researchers, by farmers, we need to understand what are the needs of the farmers. Why would they use a platform like this? Because we know from the past that a lot of these platforms that have been used, by the end of the day, users don't use it. So what we are doing on the ground is actually to do this systematic assessment through ethnographic interviews, focus groups, to try to gather the information from the end users, which actually at the moment we are understanding that farmers are not the only end users, and maybe there are some others. So to try to inform the research and the technological development. And this compared to the challenge that I gave you before, which was we started a project related with fresh water that we started as a community. We didn't start it inside academia. So we're having this challenge of bringing together these two worlds. And in this project, we are already putting this participatory side inside the research project in a way that then it will inform the research development. And that's it. This is just a final scheme for us to reflect how important it is to bring all these different kind of institutions to define common objectives since the beginning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So thank you, Maria, for your presentation. And now, Manuel, the last but not least, the floor is yours. We will here we have your presentation.
morning to you all. After all this amazing presentation, I think I'm going to quit. Okay. Well, I'm a teacher. First of all, I'm a teacher. I'm not a researcher. I am doing some research. Still, I'm a teacher since 1995. Okay. I'm at Café da Nazaré since 2000. I'm 22 years working with my students. What I bring here today is what we are doing there with students, with the teachers, and also with the academia, of course. We need the University of Aveiro to work with us, and we have this partnership between Aveiro University and the school. So, Smart School Lab, reason why we put Smart School Lab at Café da Nazaré. The Smart School Lab starting point was my PhD research. We found that our students are not what we think they should be. I mean, students should be participatory in all the matter related to local issues and global issues. And we knew that there was something that we could do. We could work with our students to put them on a new level, something that we want all of us to be. It's yesterday I talked with some of us. They are here today, and I told them that the Portuguese are always telling that something is wrong, but they always try to find a way to not be the one to solve that problem. So, oh, there's a problem, okay, but how can we get to solve that problem? Some of you know, I just don't have the time. Sorry, I just don't have the tools. I just don't have the knowledge. And our students are Portuguese, so they have that kind of feeling inside of them, and we want to change, because the future of our country belongs to them, and they will be our future. So they need to change right now. This is our aim, okay? Change the student to be participatory citizens, and that's what we are going to show today, okay? Some objectives I'm going to go a little bit forward. What we want them to be is to involve in school problems, in community problems. So we need to put some mentor students to help the younger ones. And we need to work with real contextual problems. So they need to bring their knowledge inside the school. We just can't open the book and say, page 54, exercise 3. That's not the way we should do. We must use their daily lives. We must bring their problems to the school, and that's what I do. Moreover, we need to see a Smart School Lab. It's a support hub, something that we do. It's not a project on its own. Smart School Lab, it's a project that helps other projects inside school to shed light to some problems. And we work with the municipality, we work with parish council. So it's all the community. It's not the students, it's not the teachers, it's all the community. We must work all together to solve the problems. That's what we try to do, to work with them. It's easy? No, it's not easy, of course. But we are working, okay? We are working. We are doing some great work, I hope. Okay, we are working like a smart city topology. That's what we are doing. We work with IoT technology, we put them in education, and we get real-time data from the surrounding environment and work with that data with the students and with the teachers. 3 milestones. The first one, we need to create the educational community. That was built in 2018, 2019. It was really hard to build this smart education community. And I think that we are always rebuilding this community, because we have students that come and goes. We have teachers that come and goes. Municipality, the same. So we need to always working this new smart community. But the teachers, we have a role of, I don't know, 10, 15 teachers that are always working with us. They are part of the school, and they are always staying there. But they are always someone that comes and goes every year, unfortunately. 2019-2020, we start to design and implement some citizen science strategies until COVID-19 breakout, and we have huge problems there in 2020. And from that time to today, we are always monitoring, disseminating. That's what we are doing right now, and always building new citizen science strategies. Of course, that's it. It's part of our daily job, is to build new citizen science strategies. It's going good. This is some pictures from some workshop that we built to mobilize our, we call geo-mentors. Yes, they ask me why geo-mentors? We need mentors, we need people that could bring these issues to the light, and we call them geo because we are always geo-monitoring things, and that's the reason why we call geo-mentors. Okay, there's a few workshops, some civic appropriation of these strategies, and other workshop that we build, always trying to put these co-creation of strategies inside the curriculum. It's always put them inside of the classrooms. That's what we want to do. So we have a few workshops over there. Oh, sorry. In the first one on the top right, you could see, for instance, parish council, municipality, the headmaster, and all the other students, other teachers working with the same issue, that use georeferenced narratives, sharing with GeoNet, try to build this network of geomentors, and creating geonarratives with Survey 123. This application were used to create the citizen science strategies. Okay, first one. This one was asked by the parish council. It's always a problem to know if the recycle bins are full or are not full. And it told us that you would like to have something that could help him to know what was going on with the recycle bin. So we built this one. We call Backtrack because it's put in a bike, and you all know that Vicente Nazaré is known for many bicycles that we have there. So the reason why we put that in a bicycle. We collected the problems. We would say that the glass is full, and we could see where the problem was, and the parish council would have this map and to know that it's time to collect the recycle bin, the glass recycle bin, and so on. This one is to collect garbage on the beach. It was built by the student using Survey 123, and this was asked from the municipality for us to join them on collecting the garbage. And we want to, I'm sure all of you, or some of you, did this kind of activity to collect garbage on the beach. And sometimes we use a sheet of paper and we say it's plastic, and we are like prisoners, 1, 2, 3, 4, cut 5 bottles of plastic and things like that. So the municipality wanted to have something different, so they could see the data in a different way. And we built this application with survey 1 to 3. Students say we are going to monitorize the garbage and say it's plastic. They took a picture and they georeferenced it with a GPS coordinates, so they know where the garbage was. And after that, they built, as you can see, all the information here. They built it's a kind of georeferenced narrative and presented in Ilhavo and in Lisbon with the AUE conference. Another one is air quality. All of us know that the air is one of the main issues that we have right now. And we started in 2019. This, we start to work on CO2 problems related to the increase of cars nearby our school. So, students interview the parish council, some researchers here at university, some workshops were made by the researchers of the university. My students built the first equipment to track CO2. It's quite, okay, that's what they could do. A few moments ago, I saw something that shed light to my eyes. You have a few funds, and people always ask me, do you get money for what you are doing? And I always say yes. Every month, on the 23rd, I get money. Always. But that's my pay, of course, for what for my job as a teacher. We don't have zero euros for doing this. Okay, it's always using our own pocket, our own time. I have to do all this work that I'm going to show you. The school gave me 2 hours a week to do this job. And of course we can't do all of this in 2 hours. You need sometimes 20 or even more. So we do this because we love what we do. And we know we have to do this because the future is our kids. Of course, if we don't do something for them, we're not doing nothing for our country, for our planet. That's the reason why I'm here, to show what we are doing. Okay, carry on. Air quality. Data analyzed with students. So after collecting the data, we had some talk with the students outside of classrooms, inside, to show what happened, the reason why. They built another narrative, and teacher training course in 2020 started really well down here, and then a pandemic situation broke out, but we continued online and we kept till the end, and we built some citizen science strategies, seven. I'm bringing you 7 of them, and I'm going to show you in a particular way a few of them, okay? First one, garbage at school. So the students were collecting garbage at the school. This is my school, Vicente Nazaré, and the red dots are where they collect the garbage. So they collect the garbage, they took a picture, and after that they have on the top right teacher was talking about the garbage, reason why, what they have to do, and they define path to try to avoid this kind of things. Maybe there's a lack of place to put the garbage, or they need to raise awareness students to not do that kind of things. This was one of our first work. Another one, mobility issues, people and bicycles, of course. So we went to the fields and we collected problems with our bicycles. Some students were using bicycles, others were by foot, and we collected the problems and we could see where this is. And right now we are creating a safety route for people to walk and safety route for people to go using bicycles at the Gafanha Nazaré. Toponymy, this is another project that we did to try to find out. So we wanted the kids to know the reason why the name of the street happened. Who was Gilianes? This is where I live. Who was Gilianes? So some students live also in my street. So we went there. We took pictures of points that we could relate it to that person, and they had to make some research on who was Gilianes, what he did, and things like that.
And the majority are men, aren't they?
Okay, I'm the last one to talk, so gender equality. Yes. Yes, they are. This one is also a little bit sensitive because we found out that during COVID breakout 2020, number of persons that need help in Gafanha Nazaré increased exponentially. It was really a difficult time for us. So Caritas, we talked to Caritas and said that we could create a logistic of delivery to know where people live, what they need, what they gave the last month, what they might need on the next month, and we created this application, and the Caritas would see a map. The map is all obviously is blank. We could not put anything here, but this is what we did to help Caritas, of course, and we gave everything that they might need. Another project was SMART-ER. SMART-ER, it's one of the major project that we created using Smart School Lab. SMART-ER won the contest, GALP Foundation contest in 2021. GALP put 53 solar panels at our school, nearly 20,000 euros in solar panels. So we are now producing our own energy. Nearly 10% of the energy is produced by these 53 solar panels. We raised some awareness with the municipality, parish council, president of the parents association, students, teachers, to try to remove part of the cars nearby the school and try to bring the bicycles again. On the same path, we created a smart move, we call it a smart move to this project. It's a way of charging the electric bicycles. So we created this and put this, we are going to put this in the school. We have lots of problems to change things at the school. The school is not the owner of the school, it's Parque Escolar, the owner. If we want to change the lock of a door, we just can't. We need to call and say that there's something wrong, we need to change, and they will send someone to change, and we know how to change, but just can't. So to put this in the school to charge the electric bicycles, it's still on the move, but it's a soft move. Okay, this is Café da Nazaré school. As you can see, lots of bicycles. The one on the top, on the bottom right is nearly 30 years old. This was our old school. We are always connected to bicycles, and we know that some of the students are now using electric bicycles, so we need to give them something for so they could keep on using this kind of electric bicycles, and we could monitoring what is going on with these 4 chargers. Okay. Last year, I worked with 4 teachers, and in a STEAM approach, and we grabbed 2 of the 7 didactic kits that I presented a few moments ago, Smart Sound and Bike Track, and we built something different with this project. What we did? Well, the engineering teacher built this structure. This structure could collect the sound and give this, and the data would be published, so we could see what was going on. For instance, if you go to the library and see the sound level, if you go to the I don't know how to say canteen, we say the word canteen is correct. We see that the level will raise high, of course, because they are so many people talking and so on, and we could use this data. I'm going to step a little bit forward. We could use this data in math and science with math and science teachers. So they built some curricular integration, so the student could collect data, could make the interpretation of the data, the reason why, what was going on, the reason why. So we see students as co-researchers. So they collect, they build, they collect, and then they are going to analyze the data they collected. The last one, the bike track, we need to change. We want to remove, not completely, but remove this part. It was too expensive, so we need to change to an app. That's what we did. The art teacher and the students started with the wireframe design of the app. The technology and engineer, they developed the app, and what we want to do this year is to integrate this data again by the math and the science teacher. This is the app, so we could we could collect, for instance, what was going on with the paper, glass, and things like that, other urban problems, and we could see what was going on the map. What we want to do is to give this to the parish council, so when we collect some of this problem, he would immediately see in his own cell phone what was going on. Okay, just to center the problems that we have. The younger one, the B are the younger one, basic, and the S and the P are the older one. The younger ones are always, they want to help always, in all steps of the way, but they have one huge problem. They don't know how to help. They need the teacher to be with them, to help, and to be participatory citizens. The older one, we could see that when the focus is the academic focus, they just say, sorry, I don't have the time. Those are the Portuguese ones. And the last one are my students. I work with students that are not following the regular curriculum. They are always want to help because they want practical work. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your presentation. Now I invite our speakers to stay here in the last few minutes that we have. If anyone wants to put a question.
Thank you so much for those amazing presentations. I had the opportunity to learn a little bit about some of those projects yesterday, so it was nice to have an overview today as well. So I think I have one question for Maria first, and then one for everyone on the table. So can you speak about if in the platform that you are engaged, is there any data for social science academics? So for example, do you have policy data there? Because I think this is the challenge I have by being a social scientist in citizen science. So I would like to learn more to see if maybe one day I could use that platform in my research. And for... Okay. Okay, thanks for the clarification. So I think for all of you, my question would be about this idea of how citizen science can make communities more resilient. So how do you see the impact of your projects into the future? So do you envisage that in some way the outcomes of your projects would make the communities more empowered? Would you be generating experience of inclusion? So this is me asking about how do you see your projects having influence into the future of policy, of well-being, and or something along those lines. So this is for the whole table. Thank you.
Experience in running this type of projects?
Well, I never used this concept of resilience, but yes, this kind of methodology has this kind of impact in those communities that you work with. I use, in my articles, I use an expression that is emancipatory knowledge. Something that I think that this kind of people have after these projects. They have knowledges that are useful for their neighbors, their communities, their dialogues with the government, their dialogues with everyone. So this is one aspect, and the other one is the social impact that this methodology can achieve in some occasions. For example, when I'm always thinking in my practical cases, you know, because that's my life, the sum of different practical cases. And when people are more, have more knowledge about the laws of migration, for example, because I work a lot with migrants, this helps them to be more resilient. This is an example. The impact can be more tangible or more intangible. In my domain, arts and humanities, I think that the majority of times is more intangible, but it's there, you know. But it's more difficult to speak about it and to quantify. So.
That's fine, thanks. From our perspective, so we are part of a municipality, and I should confess that our last year, we talked about change of parties, and our last year was quite challenging one. We had a change of party and of structure in the municipality. And there was a moment if we didn't know if this project was actually going to continue. But in the end, I think what was of common understanding was that to have science part of the common access of the municipality is something important, and the objective is that now the Plataforma de Ciência Aberta is going to turn into a science innovation office of the municipality. So I think what we expect in the future is actually, I think I don't know if I can say this word in English, institutionalization of these processes within these institutes and to change these practices. It's not changing, it's actually incorporating the knowledge that exists already in the institutions and to bring it together with knowledge that we bring from others. And to make sure that we are, again, putting in these institutions these processes that will create sustainable processes, knowledge, whatever, that is going to be long-lasting for the community. So for us, I think that's it. It's like, how can we transform together with the people that is already there, the processes of working, in this case, in a municipality. Of course, we also work with schools and all of that, but about changing processes structurally. Just to give a small example, today we're actually here, I came with some people from the municipality today. We came in the morning because we are going to have a workshop in Porto. We are producing furniture from recycled plastic, and we brought how do you say it in English, serralheiros, and an artist, and also a teacher who is actually are trying to learn this process, so then we can produce this locally as well. So to bring together the knowledge and to make it structural.
Thank you, Maria. Manuel?
Start with the students. We know we are creating resilient students, and we know that the future challenges are huge. The issues that they will see and will be. They need to build this resilience, and so they could overcome those challenges. And we are always working with them, and we know that they have a huge future along ahead, and they need to be resilient. So we need to always work with the students, the resilience. And the municipality, they are always there for us. Even changing the colors, in Ilha the color changed, but they are always there for us because they know that they are also one element to solve the problem. It's not just the municipality on their own, it's not the school on their own. The community need to work together to solve community problems. So we know that they are always there for us because we are always there for them.